What do you remember about 2003 and just how important that was to LSU?
Well, back in 2003, the biggest memory is how crowded the lobby of the Marriott Marquis was throughout the entire week of LSU's stay there, and just the excitement and the energy and enthusiasm that was there back in '03 was something that I hadn't seen up to that point in my administrative career.
And now, you see what's happening there. I'm sure you follow with interest, although obviously you'll be rooting for the other side this week. But how impressed are you about how LSU has been able to kind of quickly, I don't want to say right the ship, but get this thing back to the point to where it was those back in the 2000s?
You know, from yesterday through Monday at 7 o'clock, this is a celebration of college football. And the enthusiasm that both fan bases bring here is great for college football. Once the game's kicked off, I mean, everybody has their partisan interest, but this is really, and that's one of the things I think the CFP has done, which is create a great celebration of football.
And it's not you guys in Alabama again, but it's Clemson and another SEC team, the two Southern teams again. Do you think that adds to the pressure to want to expand the playoff from other parts of the country?
You know, I don't know you can expand the playoff. I mean, that's certainly something that I think the management will look into. But then you have the teams that actually get here, you know, and play for the championship. So I think football in the South has always been, you know, a really, really good product. And over the last couple of decades, it's really kind of shown that in who's won championships.
As an athletic director, and someone who's on the committee, what are the logistical issues if you wanted to expand? Where would you play? I mean, playing on campus is not the easiest thing, right? I mean, it's playing in the bowls, you can't make fans go to 3 straight bowl games.
That's one of the big things is the logistics. I think it's real easy to sit down at a desk and map out an 18 playoff, but it can't be the current way that we do things. You know, do you move back do you lose a game? Do you go back to an 11-game schedule? Do you monetize? And to do that, do you monetize the spring game? Do you change that whole philosophy? So I don't think this is a one sit down and say, okay, this is how we're going to change this. There's a lot of little pieces that can lead up to a really healthy alternative if that's the direction they want to go.
Can you point to one spot and say this was the point where this Clemson football program became this year in, year out contender for a national championship?
Well, I got to tell you that if you talk to a number of folks from Clemson, they'll look at December 31st, 2012, when Clemson beat LSU in the Peach Bowl. I mean, that game was something that really created an incredible belief within the program, and from recruits that would come over the next 3 to 4 years that would be the basis for that 2016 championship team. So a lot of it goes back to that night in Atlanta against the same LSU Tigers.
There was a lot of talent on the field in that game. You look both sides, there were a lot of NFL players, you know, not unlike what you see LSU Alabama year to year. Was it just a matter of belief and maybe taking the recruiting notch or up another notch at that point?
Well, I think that's exactly it, and how Coach Sweeney was able to take that moment, make it great for Clemson, utilize that on the recruiting trail. I think it's that springboard that kind of has moved us forward.
A lot has been made in the last couple of weeks about Travis Etienne picking Clemson, you know, out of Jennings, Louisiana, and that's not an area, you know, the state of Louisiana is not an area that Clemson has come into a lot. Is Travis kind of like the poster child almost for what you're talking about and how the success of your program has allowed you to kind of grow the recruiting base and continue to get better and better players?
Well, I think Travis is a huge part of that, but I think we also have Isaiah Simmons from Kansas. You know, our recruiting class this coming year, we have some players from California. We had player Joseph Ngata from California a year ago. So we've kind of moved away from that regional location. Now, that's still our roots, but we're able to go out into Florida, into Texas and Louisiana to look for some really quality players.